The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council had witnessed 1,000 species rise to prominence over 3 million years. Its crystalline walls reflected the bioluminescent glow of representatives from across the Virgo supercluster. Today, those walls would bear witness to something unprecedented, the expulsion of an entire species. Ambassador Chen stood alone at the center of the circular platform, surrounded by the Council's 13 high arbiters. Above her, holographic displays showed Earth, a blue marble suspended in the void, home to 8 billion souls whose fate now hung in the balance. Humanity, began High Arbiter Velshara, her tentacles undulating with barely concealed disdain, has been granted observer status for merely 2 centuries. In that time, you have demonstrated qualities that make you incompatible with galactic civilization. Chen's jaw tightened, but she remained silent. She had seen this coming. You expand too quickly, continued Arbiter Cormath, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into razor-sharp beams. You question too freely. You refuse to accept the established order that has maintained peace for epochs. We ask for knowledge, Chen replied, her voice steady despite the weight of her species' future pressing down on her shoulders. We seek to contribute, to grow, to share what we've learned. You seek to disrupt, hissed Arbiter Thexalon. Your scientists challenge our theories. Your philosophers question our ethics. Your artists create works that unsettle the cultural equilibrium we have carefully maintained. You are chaos incarnate. The other arbiters murmured agreement, a sound like wind through alien forests. Humanity is hereby exiled from council space, Velshara declared. You will return to your home system. All trade agreements are terminated. All cultural exchanges are ended. All technological assistance is revoked. You will remain within the boundaries of your own star system, forbidden from venturing beyond the Kuiper Belt. Should you violate this decree, you will face total annihilation. You will seal us in? Chen's voice cracked for the first time. We're explorers. It's in our nature to reach beyond. Your nature is precisely the problem, Cormath interrupted. Perhaps in isolation you will learn the value of stagnation, of peace through unchanging order. The chamber's floor began to glow beneath Chen's feet, a teleportation matrix activating. In seconds, she would be returned to her shuttle, and humanity would be alone in the cosmos. We gave you the stars, she said, her final words echoing through the grand chamber, and you're choosing to live in fear of them. History will remember which of us was truly civilized. The light consumed her, and Ambassador Chen vanished. Aboard the ISS Unity, humanity's most advanced starship, Chen delivered the news to a silent command crew. Behind her, through the observation deck's panoramic windows, Earth rotated peacefully, unaware that the universe had just slammed a door in humanity's face. Captain Marcus Rivera was the first to speak. So that's it? We just go home? Stop reaching for the stars? That's what they've decided, Chen said, exhaustion evident in every syllable. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the ship's chief science officer, pulled up holographic data streams. We've analyzed the barrier technology they're implementing. It's a quantum suppression field that will prevent our ships from exceeding light speed within a 2-light-year radius of Sol. Effectively, we're in a cosmic prison. Then we break out, said Commander Amara Okonkwo, her Nigerian accent thick with defiance. Against the entire Galactic Council? Rivera shook his head. They have weapons that can ignite stars, Amara. We have... What? Fusion torpedoes and hope? We have more than that, Chen interrupted, straightening her posture. A fire had ignited behind her eyes. We have something they've forgotten in their 3 million years of stagnation. We have the ability to adapt, to innovate, to survive against impossible odds. She activated the central display, pulling up Earth's history. Images of humanity crawling from caves to building cities, from sailing wooden ships to touching the moon, from splitting atoms to folding space. Every time we've been told we couldn't do something, we did it anyway, Chen continued. The Council thinks isolation will break us. They think we'll wither without their technology, their guidance, their permission to exist beyond our own backyard. What are you suggesting? Tanaka asked. Chen smiled, an expression that sent a chill through the room. It was the smile of someone who had just decided to bet everything on a single hand. We prove them wrong. We don't just survive this exile, we thrive in it. If they won't let us join their empire, then we'll build our own. The command crew exchanged glances. It was audacious. It was borderline insane. It was the most human thing they'd ever heard. All in favor? Chen asked. Every hand in the room rose without hesitation. The Unity turned toward home, but this wasn't a retreat. It was the beginning of something the galaxy had never seen before. Humanity unleashed, with nothing to lose and everything to prove. As Earth grew larger in the view screens, Chen whispered to herself, "They wanted us gone? Fine. But when we come back, we won't be asking for a seat at their table anymore." The exile had begun, so had the Empire. 50 years after the exile, Sol System had transformed into something the Galactic Council never anticipated. The quantum barrier still hummed at the edge of the Kuiper Belt, an invisible cage designed to contain humanity's ambitions. The Council's surveillance probes reported regularly. The humans were confined, their civilization presumably stagnating in isolation, learning the hard lesson of accepting one's place in the cosmic order. They couldn't have been more wrong. Dr. Kenji Yamamoto floated in the observation bubble of Forge Station Alpha, watching the construction of humanity's 7th Titan-class vessel. The ship stretched 3 kilometers from bow to stern, its hull a masterwork of material science that hadn't existed a decade ago. "Another month and the Prometheus will be ready," said his assistant, Dr. Sarah Chen, daughter of the late Ambassador Chen, who had died 5 years after returning from the Council, her heart broken but her vision alive. "My mother used to say that prison walls are only as strong as the prisoner's acceptance of them," Sarah mused, pulling up holographic schematics. "The Council gave us a barrier. We're about to turn it into a doorway." Humanity had not been idle in its exile. Without access to Council technology, human scientists had been forced to innovate from first principles. The results were extraordinary. While the Council's species relied on technologies perfected millions of years ago, humanity's isolation had sparked a renaissance of desperate creativity. They had cracked quantum entanglement communication, allowing instant coordination across the solar system. They had developed neural interface technology that made human and machine work as seamless partners. They had built fusion reactors so efficient that energy was no longer a limiting factor in any endeavor. But the crown jewel was the Tesseract drive. "Run the simulation again," Yamamoto ordered. The holographic display showed a ship approaching the quantum barrier. Just as it should have been stopped, the ship seemed to fold space around itself, stepping through the barrier like a ghost passing through a wall. "It's not faster than light travel," Sarah explained to the assembled team. "It's dimensional displacement. We're not breaking their barrier. We're going around it through a space that exists perpendicular to normal spacetime." "How long until we can test it on a real ship?" asked Admiral Kowalski, whose United Earth fleet had grown from a dozen vessels to over 300 in the past 5 decades. "The Pathfinder is ready now," Yamamoto replied. "But are we?" The question hung in the air. For 50 years, humanity had accepted its cage, used it to grow stronger, to evolve. Stepping beyond it meant confronting the Council again. And this time, humanity wouldn't be begging for acceptance. On Mars, within the crystalline biodomes that now housed 300 million people, President Elena Rodriguez addressed the United Earth Assembly. "The Council exiled us because they feared change," she declared, her words broadcast across every human settlement from Mercury's solar collectors to Neptune's ice mines. "They saw in us a reflection of what they had lost. The courage to evolve, the hunger to explore, the refusal to accept that the universe has already been fully understood." The assembly chamber erupted in applause. "Today, we activate the Tesseract drive. Today, humanity steps beyond the cage, but we do not step beyond it in conquest. We do not seek revenge against those who cast us out." She paused, letting the tension build. "We step beyond it to show them what they could have been, to build an alternative to their stagnant order, to offer every species in the galaxy a choice they've never had before. Join us in reaching higher, or remain forever as you are." On the edge of the Kuiper Belt, the Pathfinder prepared for its historic journey. Captain James Okoro sat in the command chair, his crew of 60 representing every continent on Earth, every culture humanity had to offer. "Tesseract drive charging," announced the navigator. Space itself began to ripple around the ship, reality bending like light through water. "The Council's probes are detecting the energy spike," Tactical reported. "They're probably wondering what we're doing." Let them wonder, Okoro replied. Engage the drive. The Pathfinder shimmered, and for a moment it existed in two states simultaneously, inside the barrier and beyond it. Then, with a pulse of exotic radiation that would puzzle Council scientists for months, it completed the transition. The ship was free. Location confirmed. Navigation called out. We're 3 light-years from Sol. The barrier is behind us. A cheer erupted through the bridge, echoed across every human settlement as the news spread at the speed of entangled quantum communication. Humanity had broken free, but Okoro's expression remained serious. Helmsman, set course for Alpha Centauri. Let's see if the Council's claims about this sector being uninhabitable were as truthful as their promises of fair treatment. As the Pathfinder leaped toward humanity's first extrasolar destination, a new chapter began. The Council had given humanity 50 years to learn its place. Instead, humanity had learned something far more valuable, that the only limitations that truly bind us are the ones we accept. The foundation of humanity's empire wasn't built on weapons or conquest. It was built on the simple, radical belief that the universe belonged to those willing to reach for it, not those content to merely inhabit it. And now, the reaching could truly begin. Behind the Pathfinder, more ships prepared to follow. Hundreds of them, then thousands. The exile was over. The expansion had begun. 100 years after the exile, the galaxy had changed. In the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council, High Arbiter Velshara reviewed reports with growing unease. Her tentacles curled in agitation as the data scrolled past, data that should have been impossible. They've colonized 14 star systems, reported Junior Arbiter Kexaval. No, wait, the latest intelligence says 17. Their expansion rate is accelerating. How? Cormath's crystalline form flickered with confusion. Our barrier, they bypassed it. Some form of dimensional technology we don't understand. They call it the Tesseract Drive, and they're installing it on every ship they build. Velshara's skin shifted colors, a sign of deep concern among her species. What else? They're not conquering. That's what's truly disturbing. Kexval pulled up holographic images. They're inviting. 7 species have already left Council space to join what they're calling the Terran Commonwealth. The chamber fell silent. Which species? Cormath demanded. The Xyloth Collective was first. Apparently, humanity offered them something we never did. A voice in government equal to any other species. The Xyloth had been petitioning us for full Council membership for 12,000 years. Velshara felt something she hadn't experienced in centuries. Fear. Show me their territories. The holographic display expanded, revealing a 3-dimensional map of the local galactic arm. Council space appeared in blue. Vast, ancient, unchanged for epochs. But spreading like veins of gold through the surrounding sectors was something new. The Terran Commonwealth. It wasn't just humanity anymore. It was humanity and everyone they'd convinced to dream alongside them. On the Commonwealth capital station New Horizon, Ambassador Kwame Asante stood before a gathering unlike anything the galaxy had seen in millions of years. The Grand Assembly Chamber housed representatives from 23 species. Humans sat beside the insectoid Xyloth, the crystalline Lumina, the aquatic Pelagos, and dozens of others, species that had abandoned the Council's rigid hierarchy for something radical: democracy. Today, we welcome the Drax hegemony into the Commonwealth, Asante announced. His voice carried through neural translators to every being present. They bring with them expertise in biogenetic engineering and a culture of philosophical inquiry that will enrich us all. The Drax representative, a massive 6-legged creature with iridescent scales, stepped forward. We watched humanity from afar for decades, she said, her voice resonating through the chamber. We watched you turn exile into opportunity, prison into possibility. The Council told us for centuries that we were too aggressive, too unpredictable to be trusted with advanced technology. You showed us that our differences weren't flaws, they were strengths. Applause erupted, not just from humans but from every species present. This was the Commonwealth's secret weapon, not superior technology or military might, but something the Council had forgotten was possible. Hope, Admiral Chen Kowalski, grandson of the ambassador who had witnessed humanity's exile, commanded the Commonwealth Defense Fleet from the bridge of the Terra Invictus. The ship was a marvel of collaborative engineering. Human tesseract drives, Xyloth shield harmonics, Lumina energy weapons, and Pelagos sensor arrays. "Admiral, we're receiving a transmission from Council Space," his communications officer reported. "It's marked urgent, and it's addressed to you personally." The view screen activated, revealing High Arbiter Velshara. She looked older, diminished somehow, as if the weight of 3 million years of civilization had finally become too much to bear. "Admiral Chen Kowalski," she began, and for the first time in recorded history, a Council Arbiter's voice carried a note of humility. "The Council requests a diplomatic meeting. We propose neutral space, unarmed vessels, and open negotiations." The bridge crew exchanged glances. This was unprecedented. "What do they want to negotiate?" Chen Kowalski asked. Velshara's tentacles drooped, a sign of submission in her species. "The Council wishes to discuss merger terms. Integration into the Commonwealth structure." Silence consumed the bridge. "You exiled us," Chen Kowalski said slowly, "because we were too chaotic, too disruptive. You called us incompatible with galactic civilization. What changed?" "You did." Velshara's image flickered with what might have been emotion. "In 1 century, you've accomplished what we couldn't in 3 million years. You've made the galaxy grow again. Species that stagnated under our rule are thriving in your Commonwealth. Technologies we deemed impossible are now routine. And you've done it all without conquest, without force, without demanding that others become like you." She paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was barely a whisper. "You showed us that we were the ones who were incompatible with civilization, true civilization, because true civilization doesn't preserve itself by stopping growth. It accelerates it by embracing every voice, every idea, every dream." Chen Kowalski leaned back in his command chair, considering. His grandmother had died dreaming of this moment, of humanity proving the Council wrong. But she had also taught him something else, that revenge was the refuge of the small-minded. "We'll meet," he said finally. "But understand this. The Commonwealth isn't a club where the powerful decide who gets to join. Every species has an equal voice, including yours. You won't be the rulers anymore, Arbiter. You'll be participants." "That," Velshara replied, "is precisely what we're hoping for." 2 years later, the Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council held its final session. The Arbiters voted unanimously to dissolve their ancient institution and petition for membership in the Terran Commonwealth. On Earth, in the Museum of Exile, a holographic statue of Ambassador Chen stood in the central hall. Visitors from 100 worlds came to see it, to remember the woman who had been exiled from the stars and responded by building a bridge back to them, not for humanity alone, but for anyone willing to dream. The plaque beneath her statue read, "They tried to cage us with fear. We broke free with hope. They built walls around their civilization. We built doors into ours. They believed the universe was finished discovering itself. We proved that every ending is just another beginning." Commander Amaro Okonkwo, now ancient but still alive through medical advances the Commonwealth had shared freely, stood before the statue during the anniversary celebration. Reporters from across the galaxy pressed forward with questions. "What do you think Ambassador Chen would say if she could see what humanity built?" one asked. Okonkwo smiled, her eyes twinkling with memories of that fateful day on the Unity when they'd first decided to turn exile into empire. She'd probably say, "I told you so." Okonkwo laughed. But then she'd get serious and remind us that the work isn't finished. That every day we have to choose between staying who we are and becoming who we could be. The Council chose to stay. We chose to become. And what is humanity now? Another reporter asked. Okonkwo gestured to the crowd around them, a tapestry of species from across the galaxy, united not by force, but by shared purpose. We're not just humanity anymore. We're the Commonwealth. We're the proof that the universe rewards those brave enough to reach beyond their grasp. We're the answer to a question the Council stopped asking millions of years ago. What if we could be better tomorrow than we are today? As the celebration continued, the Commonwealth's latest colony ships departed for distant stars. Aboard each one, mixed crews of humans and aliens worked side by side, carrying with them the most powerful force in the universe, the unshakable belief that the best days are always ahead. The exile that was meant to contain humanity had instead unleashed them, and in doing so, had given the entire galaxy permission to dream again. The empire wasn't built on territory or conquest. It was built on a simple invitation: come grow with us. And the galaxy answered, yes.